What's going on, guys? This is the Red Rogue and I hope you're all doing well today. In this video, I'll be going over some of my first impressions of Legion's Mythic Plus Timewalking, as well as a couple useful things you might want to know about. This is all really early PTR stuff regarding Legion Mythic Plus, so I wouldn't call this a guide just yet, though I will be doing one in the future. Please just take this information with that in mind, and let's begin our first look into the new Legion Mythic Plus that'll be available during Legion Timewalking weeks. First, I guess we'll start with some of the facts and interesting things you'll want to know about Legion Mythic Plus. Legion Mythic Plus works a bit differently than other forms of Timewalking content, as you might expect your characters and gear to be scaled down to Legion levels of performance just like everything else in Timewalking. That is actually not the case, and the enemies in Legion Mythic Plus dungeons will scale up to level 60, and then, presumably in the future, once there's an expansion past Shadowlands, it'll go even higher than that. Right now, the damage dealt by bosses and enemies feels a bit higher than it ought to be, as I was mainly just doing level 10 keystones, and in terms of damage taken, the enemies felt a lot closer to like a 14 or a 15 keystone in Shadowlands Mythic Plus. Tuning and all sorts of other stuff can and most likely will change as they iterate on this whole thing, but this was definitely the first thing I noticed stepping into any of these keystones. Secondly, to start a Legion Mythic Plus dungeon, you'll of course need a keystone. However, you'll need a special keystone to do this, a Timeworn Keystone. Thankfully and overly conveniently, there's an NPC in Oribos by the Great Vault named Tasyup that will give you a quest about Timeworn Keystones if the Legion Timewalking event is active for the week. Only 6 dungeons will be included for Timewalking and Legion Mythic Plus, and they are Blackrock Hold, Eye of Ashara, Darkheart Thicket, Vault of the Wardens, Neltharion's Lair, and Court of Stars. Something new for Legion Mythic Plus is an affix for keystones level 10 and higher, since back in my day,
we didn't have no seasonal affixes and we liked it.
But yeah, seriously, this is kinda new and interesting, though the implementation right now is a bit lacking. The level 10 affix for Legion Mythic Plus is called Infernal. This causes these little Legion-looking invasion portals to appear around each of the 6 Mythic Plus dungeons, and when you click on these, some big bad demon will show up that you've got to kick the crap out of. There are a few different members of the Legion that'll show up, but the purpose of them being in the dungeon doesn't really quite make any sense to me. Like, I get that they're obviously in the dungeon to be defeated because we need something to defeat for a 10 affix, I guess, but there is no obvious gain or benefit from doing so on the PTR that I can tell at least. The groups I was in also didn't want to see what happened if you left any of them alive when you finished the dungeon, so I can't exactly comment on that bit yet, unfortunately. I would assume they'll end up showing up on the last boss, kinda like how the Tormented affix works when you don't kill one of the Moss-Sworn Lieutenants, or like in Season 4 of Battle for Azeroth Mythic Plus with the Awakened affix, but that just seems to be a kinda lazy way at this point of making you have to deal with an affix, and unlike Prideful or Tormented or Awakened, you don't seem to get any buff or benefit from killing any of the Legion invaders, which is kinda lame because it would be a really cool opportunity to play around with some of the thematic Legion stuff, like, I don't know, you get to control a Legion battleship so you can drop like fell artillery on groups of enemies or something when you kill one, I don't know, something. A big thing that's piqued my interest is that there are a number of juicy trinkets from back during Legion Mythic Plus, and quite a few of them are coming from the dungeons included in the Mythic Plus rotation. A few of these have already seen some numbers and tuning changes preemptively, so don't be too surprised if you hear something about X or Y super awesome trinket being nerfed or changed in the future. Speaking more generally about gear though, your drops from Legion Mythic Plus dungeons will be at the exact same item level that you would get from an equivalent level key in Shadowlands, so completing 14s or higher will get you some 236 gear, and it's upgradable with Valor. The completion of Legion keys also counts towards your weekly Great Vault for keystone completion. However, the Legion gear is not being added to the Great Vault loot table, so do keep that in mind, as I doubt they'll change their mind on that one, as it would make the loot pools really big if you added 6 dungeons on top of all the dungeons already in Shadowlands or any that get added in the future. As one of the many people who enjoyed Legion, I'm pretty excited to see what comes out of all this. However, and this is something that bugs me about Timewalking events in general, I really don't like how this stuff is only available for a limited amount of time once every few months. I guess as a bright side, they are making the Legion Timewalking event last for a whopping 2 weeks when these changes are all put into the game, but After that, it's going to presumably be back to the annoying cycle of waiting weeks and weeks and months just to do a certain bit of content you might be interested in. What'll be worse is if Legion Timewalking shows up right when a Mythic Plus season's about to end, meaning all the gear will basically be immediately inferior to stuff from the next season, unless it's like a trinket or an item that's overtuned and is better than things like 30 item levels higher, and if that happens, it's practically guaranteed to get nerfed. So yeah, while I'm really interested in Legion Mythic Plus coming back with a bit of a new twist, it'd be really awesome to find some way of including Timewalking content much more frequently, or even just all the time. Once BFA eventually gets added into this Mythic Plus Timewalking rotation, which I'm pretty confident it will, then we'll have 2 expansions of content with potentially super strong things that you'll want to farm, but can't because it's locked behind an arbitrary calendar event, which is always awesome. Either way, I hope this look into Legion Mythic Plus was entertaining, useful, or preferably both for you. If so, feel free to leave a like, a comment, or I don't know, maybe even check out the rest of the channel if you're new to my little corner of the YouTube algorithm. I try to cover anything interesting or helpful that I think of or come across in WoW. As always, my appreciation and gratitude to all of my viewers and especially my patrons, who all help make these Shiba Shenanigans possible. Thank you all so much for watching. This is the Red Rogue, and I'll see you guys around.